it's Jennifer Nassi, the Clear Skin Diva at clearskindiva.com, and you are joining me for part 2, which is all about gluten. In video 1, we broke down what is gluten, what happens when we ingest it, how can it create problems for people, and now we're going to get into testing and how it's helpful, where it can be not so helpful, how that all works. And then in video 3, we're going to get talking about, is a gluten-free diet healthy or not? Is it something you should consider even if you don't necessarily have gluten intolerance or celiac disease? So if you missed part 1 or you don't want to miss part 3 and you are not a part of the Clear Skin Diva community yet, come and join us at clearskindiva.com. Get signed up. You will also get my 3-day jumpstart, chock full of really delicious gluten-free recipes, and you get a really awesome community with it. So I can't wait to see you there. So now let's hop into the issue with testing for gluten. I talk to a lot of people who will say, hey, I tested for it and it came back negative, so I'm fine, right? Not necessarily. So a lot of times if we go for allergy testing, which maybe you have, you go in and you do a skin prick test. And what they are looking for that is a very rapidly developing antibody. And so you wait maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, they do a reading, they see what you're reacting to, and then you are out the door and on your way. Now it is helpful in that if something does react, if you do get a reaction in the skin prick test, then you know your body is absolutely reacting to that. But just because you don't have a reaction doesn't necessarily mean it's okay. Because food intolerances, those antibodies can take up to 72 hours to show up. So it's a very different antibody that they're not looking for when they're doing the skin prick test. So be aware of that. You can go in and do a blood test for celiac disease. Often that will come back negative, which is good in one sense, like you don't get diagnosed with celiac disease at that point. But again, it doesn't mean that stuff's not going on in there. Sometimes there hasn't been enough damage to the intestinal lining for the numbers to be high enough to be considered outside of the normal range. Sometimes people have a gluten sensitivity or intolerance that doesn't do the same level of damage as it would happen in someone who has celiac, but they still get all sorts of funky symptoms and they feel awful. So if you're a person where you're like, I just know I need that piece of paper, then what I would probably look into is stool testing, which is going to find any antibodies that might be showing up. It's going to find them there a lot sooner than it'll be able to detect them in great numbers in your bloodstream. So you can get a really good picture of what's going on in there with that. But really what I would recommend is an elimination diet. I'm sure you've heard that floated around a lot. What does that mean? It means taking out a particular food for a length of time and then gradually reintroducing it to see how you do. When it comes to gluten, you want to take that sucker out completely. I talk to a lot of people who say, well, I've taken most of it out and I don't feel any different. Most doesn't work because for some people it can be just a very small amount and it sets off their system. If your system is in reactive mode and is reacting to it, it doesn't matter if it's a crumb or a piece of bread. So take it out completely. Do it for at least 3 weeks. When I run my cleanse, folks who do the 3-week cleanse, they get to take it out and then we slowly reintroduce things back in to see how their system handles it. In the Clear Skin Diva Club, we keep it out for the full 3 months and then see how people are doing. And really, for those who it's an issue, they see some amazing differences when they go through that process. If you are considering doing an elimination diet and wanting to see if gluten is an issue for you, I highly encourage you to take out dairy as well. The protein structure is very similar, so if you are in a reactive mode when it comes to gluten, you most likely will be reacting to dairy as well. So a lot of times those go hand in hand. They're 2 of the bigger culprits out there. I would encourage you to look at seeing if you can take those out. If you are wanting support around that, just stay tuned. I will be releasing more information about the upcoming cleanses and the Diva Club that will be happening this fall. But at least, you can start to think about whether it's something you want to pursue. You can think about any testing you might have done, what information was helpful for you, and what that might mean for you going forward. So next time we will get into that whole debate over, is gluten-free really healthy? Is it going to hurt me? Is it going to hurt my kids? And we'll start to, really put more of these pieces of the puzzle together. Until then, take care.